I wasn't planning to spend my evening in someone else's basement. It had been a long day already, and I'd just sat down when the knock came, 3 soft, hurried taps against my door. When I opened it, Mrs. Kareem stood there, wrapped in her usual shawl, her expression polite but strained. "Sorry to bother you," she said, her voice lower than usual. "The lights in my basement keep flickering. I think something's wrong with the fuse box." I hesitated for only a second. She lived alone, and I'd helped her out a few times before, fixing a loose railing, replacing a broken switch. Nothing unusual. "Yeah, okay," I said, grabbing my toolkit. "I'll take a look." The evening air had turned cool as we stepped outside. The narrow space between our houses felt tighter than usual, the shadows stretching longer as the sun dipped lower. For some reason, I noticed how quiet everything was, no kids playing, no distant traffic hum. Just silence. Inside her house, everything seemed normal. Too normal, maybe. Neatly arranged furniture, faint scent of tea leaves lingering in the air. But as she led me toward the basement door, I felt a subtle shift, like stepping into a place where the air itself was heavier. "The fuse box is at the back," she said, opening the door. "I'll be upstairs if you need anything." Her tone was calm, but she didn't wait for a reply. She simply turned and walked away. I descended the wooden stairs slowly, each step creaking under my weight. The light at the bottom flickered once, twice, then steadied into a dim, yellow glow. The basement was larger than I expected. Concrete walls, old shelves stacked with boxes. A rusted bicycle leaned awkwardly in one corner. The air smelled damp, mixed with something faintly metallic, like old pipes or forgotten tools. Or something else. I shook off the thought and made my way to the fuse box mounted on the far wall. As I knelt down and opened the panel, the light above me swayed slightly, though I hadn't touched it. "Loose wiring," I muttered, focusing on the tangled mess inside the box. But as I worked, something caught my attention. Marks. Long, uneven scratches carved into the concrete wall beside the fuse box. They weren't random, they ran in vertical lines, clustered together, like something had dragged against the wall over and over again. I leaned closer, running my fingers just above them. They were deep, too deep to be accidental. A sudden thud echoed behind me. I froze. Slowly, I turned my head, scanning the basement. Nothing moved. The shelves stood still, the shadows unchanged. "Probably the pipes," I whispered, though the sound hadn't come from above. It came from somewhere, lower. Then it happened again. Thud. This time, softer. Slower. Like a knock. My chest tightened. I stood up, listening carefully. The silence that followed felt unnatural, too complete, like the basement itself was holding its breath. "Hello," I called out, my voice echoing faintly. No answer. Just the faint hum of electricity, and the gentle sway of the hanging bulb. I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to relax. Old houses make noises. Everyone knows that. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. The feeling that something had heard me. And was now waiting. I was just finishing up when I heard her footsteps on the stairs. Slow, measured, almost hesitant. The sound made me jump more than it should have. I hadn't realized how tense I'd gotten down there alone. "Everything okay, Mrs. Kareem's voice drifted down before she appeared, softer than before, but carrying clearly in the enclosed space. "Yeah," I said quickly, maybe too quickly. I cleared my throat. Just needed a few adjustments. "Wiring's a bit old." She stepped into the basement, one hand lightly brushing the railing as if she needed the support. The dim bulb flickered again, briefly illuminating her face, calm, composed, but her eyes immediately shifted past me. Toward the wall. I noticed it right away. "You've always been good with these things," she said, though her attention wasn't on me. It was fixed on those scratches. I wiped my hands on a rag, trying to ignore the unease creeping back into my chest. "It should be fine now. Lights won't flicker anymore." She didn't respond. Instead, she took a few slow steps forward, her gaze still locked on the marks. The room felt quieter with her in it, like even the small background noises had faded. "You noticed them, didn't you?" she asked. Her voice was gentle, but there was something underneath it. Something sharp. I hesitated. "Noticed what?" She finally looked at me. "The wall." A pause stretched between us. I forced a small shrug. "Yeah, I mean, they look old. Maybe from moving furniture or something. Her expression didn't change. They weren't there before, she said. The way she said it made my stomach tighten. Before, what? I asked. She didn't answer that. Instead, she stepped closer. Close enough that I could see how still her face was, no nervous twitch, no uncertainty. Just focus. Then she asked it. If you heard something down here, she said slowly, carefully, you would tell me, right? The question hit harder than it should have. I let out a quiet, awkward laugh. I mean, it's a basement. Old houses make sounds all the time. Pipes, wood settling. That's not what I asked. Her voice cut through mine. Not loud, but firm, final. I felt my throat go dry. For a moment, I considered brushing it off again, making a joke, grabbing my tools and heading upstairs. But the memory of that sound, the thud, the whisper, lingered too clearly. I thought I heard something, I admitted, my voice lower now. Probably nothing. She held my gaze. Too long. The silence stretched until it became uncomfortable, pressing in from all sides. Then, slowly, she smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Good, she said quietly. It's better if we don't listen too closely. A chill ran through me. That doesn't sound, I started, but stopped myself. She tilted her head slightly, studying my reaction. Some things, she added, almost as an afterthought, depend on being ignored. The bulb above us flickered again. Once, twice, and for a split second, I thought I saw the shadow behind her shift, independently of her movement. I blinked. It was gone. You fixed the fuse box, she said, stepping back now, her tone returning to something almost normal. You should go. It's getting late. I nodded slowly, but my feet didn't move. Something felt wrong. Deeply wrong. And as I glanced once more at the scratched wall, I couldn't shake the feeling. That whatever had made those marks was still down here, listening. I should have left when she told me to. That was the sensible thing. Fix the fuse box, take the strange question as nerves or grief or something I didn't understand, and walk away. But I didn't, because the basement didn't feel like it was letting me go anymore. What do you mean, don't listen too closely? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Mrs. Kareem didn't answer right away. Instead, she stayed between me and the damaged wall, like she was physically blocking it from being looked at too hard. Her posture was tense now, something she had been hiding before was starting to slip. Just finish and go, she said. But her eyes weren't on me. They kept drifting to the wall behind me. Like she was waiting for it. Another sound came, not a thud this time. A scrape. Slow, deliberate, dragging across concrete. I turned sharply. The sound stopped instantly. My pulse kicked up. That's not plumbing, I said. That's not anything normal. She exhaled sharply. Through her nose. Old houses settle. Metal shifts. You're overthinking it. But her voice wasn't convincing anymore. Because now she was listening too. And she hated that she was. Then it came again. This time clearer. A voice. Not fully formed. Broken, strained, like it was pushing itself through something tight. Help. I went still. Every instinct in my body locked up. There's someone back there, I whispered. Her reaction was immediate. No, she said. Too fast. Too sharp. I turned toward her fully now. I heard it. That was a voice. Her jaw tightened. For the first time, her calm completely cracked, not into panic, but something worse. Control. You didn't hear anything, she said. Another scrape echoed behind the wall. Longer this time, followed by a soft tap, tap, tap from inside the concrete itself. Like something testing it, waiting. My hands clenched. We need to open it. There might be someone trapped. There is no someone, she snapped. The words hung heavy in the air. I stared at her. Then what is it? Silence. She didn't answer. And that silence told me more than anything she could have said. Another sound came. Closer now. A deep, wet drag from the other side of the wall. Like something was pressing against it. Trying to remember how to get out. Mrs. Kareem stepped forward suddenly and grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight, too tight. Don't, she said again, but this time her voice wasn't just warning. It was pleading. I looked at her hand on my arm, then back at the wall. Whatever is in there, I said slowly, it knows we're here. At that exact moment, the wall cracked. Not a small crack. A sharp, violent fracture that ran through the concrete like something inside had struck it from the other side. Dust burst into the air. A second crack followed immediately. Then another. Mrs. Kareem let go of my arm. For the first time since I met her, she looked afraid. And in a whisper so quiet I almost didn't hear it, she said, "It's awake." The crack widened, and something pushed back. The first crack didn't just spread, it ran. Like something on the other side had been waiting for that exact weakness. A jagged line shot across the concrete wall, branching out in multiple directions, splitting the surface like glass under pressure. Dust rained down in soft bursts, coating the floor, my hands, my shoes. I stumbled back instinctively. Mrs. Kareem didn't move. That scared me more than the wall. Another impact came from inside. Boom. The sound wasn't just loud, it felt physical, like the basement itself had been struck in the chest. The light above us flickered violently, strobing the room between visibility and darkness. In those broken flashes, I saw it. A shape behind the wall. Not fully visible. Not fully anything. Just movement, wrong, uneven, too thin to be human. The concrete bulged outward slightly, as if something was pressing its entire weight against it from the other side. "What is that?" I whispered. My voice sounded small. Kuzo even to me. Mrs. Kareem finally spoke, but her voice was different now, strained, like she had been holding it in for a long time. "It wasn't supposed to wake up." My head snapped toward her. "What do you mean wake up? What did you put back there?" She didn't answer immediately. Another crack split through the wall. Then another. A piece of concrete broke off completely and hit the floor with a heavy thud. The sound echoed through the basement like a warning bell. From the darkness beyond the broken section, a sound came back. Not a scream. Not quite human. "Heard you." My stomach dropped. I backed up another step. No, this is not happening. Mrs. Kareem shook her head slowly, like she was trying to deny what she was seeing. "You shouldn't have heard it," she said quietly. "That's what triggers it." "Triggers what?" I snapped. The wall shuddered again. Then, a hand pushed through the opening. Long fingers. Too thin. The nails scraped against concrete as it pulled itself closer. I saw enough in that moment to regret seeing anything at all. The skin wasn't right. Too stretched. Too pale. Like it had been pressed for too long in a place too small for it. I stumbled backward hard enough to hit the opposite wall. "Mrs. Kareem whispered, almost to herself. I kept it contained. "You knew about this," I shouted. "You knew something was in your basement and you called me down here." Her eyes flickered, guilt, fear, something buried deep. "I didn't call you for this," she said. "I called you for the fuse box." Another chunk of wall collapsed. The opening widened. The figure on the other side shifted forward, dragging itself into the gap. Now I could see its head. Or what used to be one. Its movements were wrong, delayed, like every motion had to be remembered before it happened. It rasped again, louder this time. The basement lights flickered one final time. And died. Complete darkness swallowed everything. For a second, there was nothing but silence. Then, breathing. Not mine. Not hers. Something right in front of me. I didn't think. I ran. And behind me, something moved out of the wall for the first time.